Welcome back to Talk of the Bay. I'm Christine Barrington. Where brush meets canvas and words meet paper, we find the mystical bridge between art and poetry. It's a place where colors tell secrets and verses paint landscapes of emotion. Like lovers, art and poetry have an unspoken understanding that transcends language and captures the essence of the human experience. And I have with me in the studio 3 talented women who are here to talk about a wonderful new show called Broadsides. It features diverse voices from the local poetry scene and pairs their writings with highly accomplished regional artists. And what is special about this exhibit is it offers a chance to explore this profound connection between art and poetry. Donna Mikes is an author and also the co-chair of the Morton Marcus community of poets. She chose the poems featured in this special show. Rose Sellery is a local artist who worked to find the perfect art piece to go with each of these poetic jewels. And Melissa Kreisa is the founding director of MK Contemporary Art, which is the gallery where this marvelous show is taking place. So these are my guests, and welcome to Talk of the Bay.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
We're
you,
so
Christine.
thrilled to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this show. So let's talk about Broadsides. Melissa, it's hosted in your gallery, and Rose and Donna, you helped curate it. So which one of you can tell us what was the inception point for this wonderful show?
Oh, that's Donna and Melissa's story.
Okay.
So Donna and I have been friends, and I attended the Morton Marcus poetry reading up at UCSC last year and was overwhelmed with the experience. I thought it was just such a beautiful and soul-filling evening. And we went out to Oswald's afterward, a few days later, and just were talking about how great the experience was, and it just came up. We said, what if we did a show where we merged the poetry with the art? And it kind of blossomed from there.
Oh, great. So let's take a moment to talk about the poetry. I was really excited. I had never heard of Morton Marcus, and I was really excited to learn that he had a radio show at KUSP. So,
Yes.
you know, roots in radio always lights me up. But he was a really amazing and accomplished man, and he was your husband, right?
He was. Yes.
Can you tell us about this wonderful man in the community of poets around his inspiration?
Well, so Mort arrived in Santa Cruz in 1969 after finishing a master's degree at Stanford University, and he had grown up in Manhattan. He came to Santa Cruz, started working at Cabrillo College in their English department, but he had started writing poetry when he was in high school. So that had been a part of his life, and also, of course, at his experience at Stanford. One of his life goals was to bring poetry to Santa Cruz. And so over his lifespan, he brought literally, hundreds of poets to Santa Cruz and did readings free of charge. And that was why, after he died, we decided to continue his work and to continue bringing poets to Santa Cruz in his name.
You know what I love about shows like this, and then getting to have them here on K-Squid, is that I get to dig into some of these roots of the beauty and accomplishment of all these amazing people. It just so moved me to discover his world. He's such an interesting man, and of course, Melissa and Rose, we've had you on before. You have shown me how rich, the artistic community is in Santa Cruz. And of course, we've had, other guests on the show that point that out. It's a rich, rich world that we have here in Santa Cruz.
It is.
So, yeah. So Rose, now to you. You helped choose the artwork. So Donna chose, it's 9 broadsides. Actually, can somebody explain, Broadside, the name of the show?
Broadsides are when you take a poem and print it on archival quality paper, 100% rag, and the poem is printed so that it becomes an art piece. And in this case, we've also done the image of the piece of art that was paired with the poem is also on the broadside. So it's now a beautiful piece that can be framed and that people can purchase
And we're gonna get to what that can accomplish after we talk to Rose. So Rose, you chose the 9 artworks to go along with these poems. Talk to us about that.
I did. Well, we went to Donna's house and we went through the poems, and she had chosen quite a number of them, and we pared it down to these 9 and these 9 really well-known poets. And then from there, I started looking through the artwork of people I know, people I've met, artists' work who I've seen around town and in Silicon Valley and the Bay Area. And it really took me a surprising amount of time to find just the right piece that spoke to the essence of each poem without being glaringly blatant in the conversation that I was trying to create. So, for instance, Morton Marcus's poem that is in the exhibit, it's very lyrical and tossing stars and flowers, and that just didn't feel right for the quality of the poem. And I paired him with an artist named Gail Anticall, who recently retired from San Jose State. And it's a small, very intimate graphite piece that looks like a night sky with a star in it. Very subtle, very elegant, and really, I think, spoke to the quality of what Morton was writing about. So for each of the artworks, it was quite a challenge. A few of the things fell right into place, and then others were just magical moments where, that's just perfect. And one of the artists is someone I knew from the Bay Area, a painter, and he did murals and he did giant 10-foot paintings that dealt with farm workers, and his grandparents were farmers, and he now lives on a farm. But so I wrote to him and I sent the poem, and would you be interested? Do you have a piece that might fit with this? And it turns out he had moved to New England, but he was interested. He wanted to do it, and he is one of the only artists that created a piece to go with the poem. The others were all found and brought in as they were. And there's a marvelous array from detailed collages to painting to pencil drawings.
To assemblage.
Yeah.
Just... Okay, are your eyes drooling, listeners? Are you getting excited? You want to see these works of art? You have to go to MK Contemporary Art on Front Street. Is it 703?
703 Front Street in downtown Santa Cruz, right next to the MA, across from the backside of Trader Joe's.
Yeah, and you already had the big, juicy opening. Wallace Bain was there. It was standing room only.
Magical evening.
Yeah.
We thought when you put that many poets and artists in a room, great things are going to happen. And they did. It was lovely.
Yeah, but the show is going through, is it January 13th,
January
right?
13th.
And there's going to be a couple of First Fridays in there for
coming
people
up.
to capture that magical spirit. So if you want to experience this, go down to MK Contemporary Art. And I just wanted to seed the field. This is also a benefit for a very, very special fund.
Yes. Thank you so much. I think we were here talking about that fund a few months ago with Sarah Friedlander and Dee Hooker. It's called SCARF, and they created it years ago to support artists in the community that are in need of special assistance, whether it's medical help or something difficult happening in their lives. So we've been hosting it now for about a year. We have fiscal sponsorship, so all donations are tax deductible. And the Broadsides, the donations from the sale of the Broadsides, all support SCARF.
All support SCARF. So if you buy a broadside and it's unframed, it's $100.
$100. The $100 goes directly into the fund. And then the framed pieces are $200.
That's sounds like a deal. So now let's get back to the poetry and the art. So Donna, when you saw the visual art that Rose had chosen to go with these poems, what was it like for you?
It was just really exciting. I have to say I saw them online first because Rose sent them to us. But, seeing the work in person is always very, very different than seeing it online.
That's right.
But Rose did such an exceptional job of just taking the poems even deeper in another direction, so they feed off of each other, and I was amazed at the pairings.
Yeah.
I just also want to say it was so exciting to have the artist and the poets meet each other for the first time at the event that we had. And so that was exciting to just see the two come together, knowing that we had paired them.
Yeah, and I think they were excited as well.
I bet. And Rose, those who know your art know that you have a gift for words. How you name your art pieces is a big part of the experience. And so okay, Melissa, you can't see. She's nodding her head.
My head.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, part of the magic of the show is you can read the poems, and I think we're going to read a few over tonight, and it's a beautiful experience. You could look at the art for just the art of what it is. We have a 72-inch by 72-inch giant painting of Tamara Avery's in there that you just fall into. And then when you see the two together, so the real experience is to kind of go in, read the poem, look at the art, and then take a moment to really think about the pairing, because it's an additional layer. And that is Rose's gift. And that was when, in the beginning, when Donna and I started talking about it, we were like, who do we know that we could bring in that loves language and poetry and art? And
I wonder who.
So it was a no-brainer to ask Rose to curate that experience. So,
gosh, I'm having this fantasy every time you talk about the pairing of like, and then you should have brought in a chef and then brought paired food.
The possibilities are endless.
Exactly.
We should keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's the next show.
The next show. Well, you are so close to Oswald's, and Janet Silverglade, who's a well-known local artist,
exactly,
is the manager
you had
of that
on your
restaurant.
Show.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know. So,
shout out to Oswald's.
It could happen. I'm gonna put it on my manifestation.
Perfect.
Thing. So, in case
we invite everyone to come.
Yes, of course. So, in case you've just tuned in, you're listening to Talk of the Bay on KSQD. I'm Christine Barrington, and I have in the studio with me three wonderful and brilliant women. Author Donna Mikes, who is also the wife of Morton Marcus, who brought poetry to Santa Cruz in a big way, and she has chosen 9 poems that are featured in the show called Broadsides. Rose Sellery chose visual art to go with the poems, and it's all happening at MK Contemporary Art downtown on Front Street next to the Ma. And so given that nobody can see the visual art, but we can hear words, we thought we might read some of the beautiful poetry. Yeah.
That's wonderful, yeah.
And Melissa, would you like to tell us about the poem that you're holding in your hand?
Sure. It's called Small Kindness, and it's by Danusha Ramirez. And would you like me to read it?
Yes.
So we did just 2 days before the show opened, I think Danusha found on Facebook, Helena Bonham Carter had this as a reading on Facebook for, and we were all blown away. So
I know
I'm going to try.
Danusha was the poet laureate of Santa Cruz County.
Exactly.
She's so extraordinary and special. I'm thrilled
Lovely.
she's in the show. Yeah.
So if you like this reading, you'll love Google Helena Bonham Carter reading of Small Kindness. Anyway, I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by, or how strangers still say, "Bless you," when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. And sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. Mostly we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of hot coffee and to say thank you to the person handing it to us, to smile at them and for them to smile back, for the waitress to call us honey when she sets down a bowl of clam chowder, and for the driver in the red pickup truck to let us pass. We have so little of each other now, so far from tribe and fire. Only these brief moments of exchange. What if they are the true dwelling of the holy? These fleeting temples we make together when we say, "Here, have my seat. Go ahead, you first. I like your hat." Goosebumps, right? That last line.
I love it.
Only these brief moments of exchange. What if we are the true dwelling of the holy, the fleeting temples we make together when we say, my gosh, what a line,
simple,
right?
Right, so simple.
Yeah.
Don't we all long for those moments of
So
connection?
beautiful, so
Yeah.
beautiful.
I'm having images in my mind flashing of memories when that's happened.
Yeah.
And don't we all feel better when people treat each other that way?
And
it just
leaves
makes your
us with
day.
a smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Rose, what artwork did you choose to go with that poem? Could you describe it to us?
That poem has a piece, it's a pencil drawing that's 5 feet long by an artist named Rick Ambrose. And he does these epic pencil drawings. And in the pencil drawing, I think there are maybe 7 or 8 people that looks like it's in a restaurant sitting at a counter, and Rick often puts himself in the drawings. It's extremely detailed. It's this giant drawing that, and you come in and you can hardly imagine that someone drew this minutely detailed drawing with a pencil. And you get a sense that there's a waitress there who's saying, "How are you? How are you doing?" And everyone's going, "I'm okay. How are you doing?" So it's quite lovely, and it just fits so beautifully. It was one of those, when I thought of it, and I'd seen Rick's work not at a gallery in the Bay Area, and I thought of it, and when I read the poem and thought of that one image, it just seemed, oh yes, this one is exquisite, and they really speak to each other.
Thank you. That's just captures it. So, Rose, did you bring a poem to read?
I did, and the one I thought I would read is a poem by David Sullivan, and it's called "To Do."
Okay.
Carry 2 buckets of salt down to the sea. Fling them in. Take actions that will leave no trace. It's not what you do that changes anything. It's the doing. Do it without a shout. Do it under cover of night. Watch the granules sink and dissolve like fizzed stars. Like all acts, it should disappear into the elements it's most like. It should leave no mark. Then head back home. Fetch more salt. I think that poem is so exquisite. It just speaks of being in the moment, in the world, not leaving a trace, not leaving a mark, but being quietly part of it. And I paired this piece with the work of Harry Cluens. And Harry Cluens is a Bay Area artist who does woodblock prints, and he cuts those prints up into small pieces and then reassembles them. And he reassembled his work into something that replicates one of the first photographs ever taken of the Dead Sea. And so his image replicates the Dead Sea, and you see it alongside this poem.
Thank you. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Donna, are you going to read a poem first?
I can read a poem.
Okay, great. Which one do you have?
I will read All We Can Do by Morton Marcus. All we can do on this earth is step into the future with a sense of the many people behind us, the living and the dead, as if we carried our bodies like amphorae filled with sunbeams into each new day, continually reaching inside ourselves to scatter golden butterflies over the land before us, or to fling them against the night, not like tears, but like stars that will guide those who follow across the darkness. This was the last poem in Mort's last book, and the book is The Dark Figure in the Doorway, and to me it's the poem represents the culmination of a lifetime of writing and teaching poetry.
When I read that poem, I just felt like it was medicine for our moment in time. Like life, the world just feels so overwhelming right now. And how do we make meaning? How do we feel like we matter, right? And sometimes it's just like who we are and what we bring, and that needs to be enough. Yeah. And poetry itself, I also think, is like, if the only communication that started going out into the world was poetry, right? Everything would improve. It would just improve.
There's a movie in there somewhere waiting to happen.
Yeah. So I want to read. Well, actually, which work of art went with that?
Well, I mentioned that one
already,
was
yeah.
Gail Antical's, and it's the smallest piece, and it's very intimate. It draws you in. You want to step closer and be part of it.
It's a brilliant pairing. It's like Rosie
They're
said,
really
there's
lovely together.
Imagery. There's so much imagery in that poem, and then how do you capture the quietness of it? Because there's
Right.
butterflies and flowers, and
Right.
you do want to,
Stars. And
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then to,
but it's
highlight them.
Intimate and quiet at the same
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
Eternal.
Yeah.
Eternal, exactly.
Well, Donna, I notice you have some things with you. Is there something you would like to share? I feel like you came prepared.
Always.
Yeah. You're a writer. You've shared here. I believe you've been interviewed here at K-Squid about the book that you wrote.
Yes.
Yeah, a historical book
Yes.
about the Croatian community here in this Watsonville area. And I just noticed that, and that's kind of how I roll. I'm like, what's she thinking? What's in those papers?
Well, mostly in the papers were copies of the poems and all of the pairings. But, I do want to say that I think that this exhibit allows people to have a way into poetry, because not everybody is comfortable or familiar with poetry, and I think that this show allows people in a way that they might not have been able to get in the past. And there are so many incredible poets in this community, as there are incredible artists,
Right.
that I think that the idea of doing this kind of pairing lets more people appreciate both types of art.
Well, cool. Can I read the one that excited me?
Yes.
Now, this one was written for your husband,
Yes.
Morton Marcus. It's by Joseph Stroud, and it's called Poem in the Sung Manner. Mort, remember how we used to tangle over poetry? How I held the Tang dynasty superior to your favorite, the Sung? How we'd sit in my little shed, drinking, swapping stories, the talk flowing between us, all those words like all those years we shared, our friendship going deeper as we grew older. Old friend, no one knows how much I miss you. Your quick laughter, your wit and candor, I would give anything to be with you again. Now I sit alone in my shed thinking of you, reading Sung poems from 1,000 years ago, and come to the one by Mao Yao Chen, the night he's sharing the last of his wine with his old friend, who will be leaving in the morning on a journey from which he will not return.
Oh,
That slays me.
I know.
For all of us who have friends deep, deep friendships, people that are just irreplaceable. It's so touching.
You know, one of the things that Joe said at our event last week was that in the Western world, you seldom see men writing about their relationships. But in China, historically, many, many Chinese poems were written about male friendship. And so that's part of what he's bringing into this poem. And I think it's really touching. And I think that more men need to be writing about their friendships.
Absolutely. You know, when that isn't the fashion, when that isn't the culture, so much is lost, right? Because we're such passionate, emotional beings, and that is what poetry and art touches upon. And so let's bring this home by sharing, which piece of art did you choose?
A print by Robin McCloskey, which is luscious greens and blues image of the San Francisco Bay lands with two empty chairs sitting looking out over the emptiness of this gorgeous blue-green landscape. It's gorgeous.
It is. It's magnificent.
Yeah. And you feel that the loss, that emptiness, you're not sitting with your friend any longer.
Beautiful.
Happy to have that piece.
Well, that's a gorgeous way to bring this home. We're out of time, and so if all of you felt touched and moved by this poetry and art, you can experience it at MK Contemporary Art, 703 Front Street next to the MAW. And if you are moved to purchase one of these exquisite broadsides, the proceeds will go to benefit artists in a moment of need here in Santa Cruz County through the SCARF Fund.
Thank you so much. Could I just do a quick
Please.
shout out?
Yes.
The broadsides were also, as far as our collaboration, but the Humanities Institute and Special Collections and Archives at UC Santa Cruz were instrumental in making this happen, as well as Mark Ong and Side by Side Studios and Community Printers of Santa Cruz, and Gary Young. Also, a shout out to Gary for putting together the broadsides.
Thank you for including that. We would not have wanted to leave that out.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us on Talk of the Bay, and I'll be heading over there for First Friday.
Great.
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you
so
so
glad.
much. All right.
Yeah.
You've been listening to KSQD 90.7 FM, KSQT 89.5 FM, and 89.7 FM. We are K-Squid, community radio for the Monterey Bay Area. I'm Christine Barrington with Talk of the Bay. Join us for more great stories about the incredible people and natural beauty of our region every weekday at 5 p.m. right here at KSQD.